everybody. Welcome to 202 Creates MasterClass. I'm Desiree Walker from Road2Par LLC. Joining me today is Tari Cash from City Swing. Hey, Tari.
Hey, Desiree. How you doing?
Good. I'm excited to have this conversation about our favorite topic, golf.
Our favorite topic, and I wouldn't want to have this conversation with anybody else but you, girl.
I love it. Let's get into it. It is such a big industry, right? We've always talked about it's $1 billion industry. Golf has been in the news. I mean, literally, you see golf in every program, every television, every movie. I'm like, man, even I'm like, there's golf everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
So it's one of those things where it's like, how do you get in the industry? And I think that's where I'm really going to be excited to be able to share that knowledge with everyone. But I think one of the best questions right now is, how did we meet, right?
Absolutely. You stole the words right out of my mouth, Desiree. I remember, and I'm going to toss it to you in a second, but I remember Craig Kirby, our dear friend Craig Kirby, who I want to circle back to in just a second. But I remember him saying, there is this woman you have got to meet. And I know that she's going to be doing really big things in the golf industry. This was back in 2018. And you walked into our first pop-up location, which was on H Street in City Center, when I had just opened up City Swing, and here you came in, and I had no idea the friendship that was going to be formed at that point in time. Were you actually in the golf industry at that point in time? Was Road2Par up and running, or were you still ideating on the business?
Well, you know, it's so funny. So the great part about golf is that you just never know who you're going to meet, right? I was at a PGA show in Orlando, Florida, which is an industry show. So anybody who's ever had like an industry trade show, it's like convention center and tons of people there just for golf. And so there weren't a lot of minorities there. So as I'm walking around this trade show, I see a gentleman who was also African-American. And we were like, oh, hey, hi, right? Like I have a friend. So
like we're going to be friends, whether you know it or not.
So we started talking, and Craig was amazing. You know, I was fairly new to the industry. I had actually picked up golf later in life. And so when I jumped in, I actually found a school in Myrtle Beach that I went to. And so there were not many of us. So having that conversation with Craig was amazing. So when I came back to DC, he was like, you got to meet Tari Cash. And I was like, okay, perfect. You know, let's make it happen. And I'll never forget walking into the studio. First of all, you had this amazing space in City Center, which has only become more amazing, right? So the new locations, I know we're going to get there, but, you know, to see the golf industry and to see an African-American woman who's in front of this, it was really inspiring for me. I've been doing a lot of third-party work in terms of working with golf courses, but to see someone else doing that was something else.
And just to circle back to who Craig Kirby is, Craig Kirby is a incredible entrepreneur in the golf industry in and of himself. He's got an organization called Golf My Future, My Game, a nonprofit that focuses on making sure that more people of color are able to participate in this $84 billion industry, like you were saying earlier. He does a tremendous job, particularly with the kids, to make sure that we have the opportunity to access the workforce and participate in the golf boom that is happening. And so in true Craig Kirby nature, he immediately put the two of us together, and that's how we met. And I'm so grateful. So Desiree, how did you get started playing golf, first of all?
Well, it's so funny you asked that because you mentioned youth, right? So I didn't start off playing golf as a child. A friend of mine, it was a random birthday, and they were like, hey, let's go to Topgolf. And I'm like, what is Topgolf, right? Like, what is this?
What year? When was this, Desiree?
Oh, gosh, 2014.
Okay.
Yep. And so Topgolf actually had its first location in Northern Virginia.
Right.
And it was amazing. Like I went, I could have drinks and food, and it was music playing. I was like, well, this is golf. Sign me up for life, right? It was literally everything I didn't know it was. I'll be honest with you, right? When you saw golf back in the day, it was like polos, stuffiness. I mean, we all seen Caddyshack, but that was like, no, that's not real, right?
Right.
Well, here comes Top Golf, and it was like, this is real. So I was like, well, how can I make this a part of my life full time? And I just dug in deep. I think within the first week, I had lessons. I had a travel bag. I bought my first set of clubs. And as we say in the industry, I bit the bug pretty hard.
Wow.
So, here we are. And then here I am 8 years later with a business and, just really engulfed into the golf world. How did you get started?
Let me ask you just one other question. I mean, Top Golf is so different than an actual course. Did you find that you were intimidated at all when you made the transition from going to Top Golf to actually starting to play on a green grass course?
So I'll jokingly say like I'm kind of a golf snob now, right? So back then, Top Golf was everything. I would shut the place down. Like I would get there and I'm hitting balls, noon, morning, night, the whole shebang. And it was an experience because with golf, a lot of people don't realize it's not you against other people, it's you against yourself.
Yeah.
And so when you have that interest and it starts to say, well, maybe I can hit the ball a little bit better, and so I think the transition to the golf course, because I'll be honest, like I barely go to Top Golf now. Like now I'm like, okay, find me the nearest course. If I travel, I'm playing. But the transition was once you had that understanding of the game for yourself, then it felt a little bit more comfortable to actually go to the course after that.
Yeah.
And so I did the lessons at Top Golf, and then I took lessons at a course. And so I think the transition was a little bit easier in terms of comfort, because I hear that a lot from new golfers. They're like, I don't feel comfortable. And I'm like, okay, well, let me help you walk through that and see where we can adjust your comfort levels and get you more engaged.
That's exactly why I asked the question, because I do spend a lot of time thinking about golf journeys for people, right? How do we start and then how do we advance to the golf course? And I think it's really important for people to find ways to enjoy golf when they're first getting started, right? And if that's at Top Golf, I will make a plug for City Swing, over Top Golf. Your first experience has got to be fun, and then you get comfortable in the game, and then you advance to the course. And I think that you've just laid out the roadmap for anybody out there that is interested in getting started in the game with what my recommendation would be. But I started very differently. When I was 16, my mom and dad belonged to one of the most prestigious golf clubs in Massachusetts. Nice. And my dad started playing for business reasons. And my mom said, your dad spent a lot of time on the golf course. We're going to take some golf lessons and we're going to surprise him on Father's Day. And so we took 2 golf lessons and proceeded to try to play our first round of 18 at the Brookline Country Club in Massachusetts. And it was a disaster. My dad to this day says it was his worst Father's Day ever.
Oh, man.
So he appreciated the effort, but 2 classes is not enough to go play 18 holes. So we laugh about it now as a family. And I will say that we play as a family together to this day. And this is one of the things that I love the most about the game is my parents who are in their mid to late 70s, myself, my brother, we still get out there all the time. And it's our favorite family activity. But I started to get serious about golf when I was in my early professional career, when I realized the light bulb went off very early for me. In my career, that golf was a strategic tool that I could use to create the relationships with the executives at the Fortune 500 companies that I was working for to see me. Right. I'll say it that plainly. I have found in my career it to be difficult to build relationships with the C-suite if I didn't have an entree to the conversation, if there wasn't a door opener that would allow us to find something in common. And for me, golf became that thing. Like, I would literally see how quickly can I get to a conversation about golf to see if this, CEO or COO or CFO plays. And then I know that I'm going to have a way to connect with him, usually him or her, I would like to say. And I knew that would help me advance my career. So I got serious about the game for business reasons. I was like, if this is where 90% of the Fortune 500 CEOs are, this is where I want to be too. And so that's really when I got started and how I got started.
Well, Tara, you bring up a good point, because I think one of the things that I love highlighting for people is that golf touches everything. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about the business aspect, I tell people all the time, golf has opened doors for me I would have never thought were possible. The rooms that I've been in, simply by being a decent golfer, or even understanding golf terminology, has really opened up a new avenue for growth and business. Not just for golf, but in general. Yeah. And so I think that is a big point that a lot of people need to understand. It's not just, from the CEOs, but also the people that are under them, right? I think I was laughing with someone recently. I was like, I read an article where an actor literally got a part in a movie. Wow. Because they were golfing. Yep. And the person was like, I want to cast you for this movie. Yeah. Yeah. Like, how amazing is that?
I got another one for you. A young man that graduated from Howard that used to work for me that aspires to be a professional football coach is now an assistant football coach at a major university because he was comfortable playing golf with the coaching staff. So golf touches all industries, all ages, all professions. I mean, to your point, it's vast and wide.
Yeah. I love it.
So getting back to your career in the golf industry, can you just talk a little bit about the very many hats that you wear, and both in and outside of the golf industry, Desiree? Because when I tell you, everybody out there, I admire this woman and am so inspired with you. And it has to do with the decisions that you've made about how you're going to intentionally spend your time. And I want you to talk about that.
And that's a big part of it, intention, right? I'll tell you, getting into the industry, I hit it from every angle. So I went to a golf school in Myrtle Beach, which is no longer, it was called the Golf Academy of America, which was a really great program. They had a lot of military veterans in there as well. And the program was like a 2-year program where you learned everything about golf, from the business to playing to even teaching. Now, it wasn't an accreditation, which is like the PGM program, but it was a crash course for those who are very much interested in the business. So I worked at public courses during school. I worked at private courses here in the DMV when I came back. And I learned that there is a market for everyone in the golf industry. So talking about the many hats that I wore, when I worked for a golf course, I said, this game is for everyone. And I started chronicling that. That's how Road2Par, my company name, actually got started, was a blog. So I started off as a blogger, if you will. And then from there, I said, well, I want to help others get into the business and understand, how to have a better golf game. If they're interested in the business, how can I, help them with that? And so when I started the business, I also realized golf is a game of invitation. And we don't hear that enough, right? So it is a powerful tool to invite someone to golf. So of the many hats between blogger, entrepreneur, I've done produced events on golf courses. So like jazz shows on a golf course, happy hours on a golf course. I do tournament direction. The list kind of can go on, but I've learned so many different things with that. And it all, for me, always ties back to golf. And I think that's important because as you also wear many hats, whether you're sitting on boards or whether you're dealing in nonprofits, I think it's important to understand that it all is because of the love of the game, right? It's one of those things that even people who don't play golf, but they're interested, they're in love with the idea. And so it is incumbent on us who are entrepreneurs in the industry to help guide those people, whatever hat we are wearing. And so it's challenging, but also rewarding, right? You have had a lot of great success with the mobility of City Swing, right? I remember you all had a truck at Broccoli Fest, correct?
Yes, we did.
Do you want to share a little bit about, so you've got a few hats with City Swing, and what does that look like, and what are the challenges and rewards that you have had?
Yeah. I almost started laughing out loud when you said, how did you phrase it? The success of the mobility.
Right.
So when you're the entrepreneur, I'm going to be really honest for all those out there, feeling successful is a challenge. It's easy for me to look at Desiree and say, girl, you're so successful, and it's very hard for me to feel successful. I think that is partially because I've got big ambitions, big dreams, big goals. I see a big vision. I'm a big thinker. And so we haven't even scratched the surface of success. It's also a bit of rewiring that needs to be done in my own brain so that I can take the time to pause and recognize the things that we have accomplished and celebrate those things. But my journey to today with this company has been, up, down, all around, circles, spin you around, tornado. It has been all the things, and I'm sure all entrepreneurs and creators out there can identify with what I'm talking about. I started the business in 2018, and I started with pop-ups. And so as when we first met, we met at City Swing's first pop-up. Let me just say first, City Swing, we are a golf and entertainment company that is based on golf simulators and golf simulation. And so I want you to visualize a screen. Our guests take real golf clubs and real golf balls, and they'll hit into a big screen. You can play real golf courses like Pebble Beach and St. Andrews. You can also play local golf courses like Bethesda Country Club. It's a great place to learn the game, as well as a great place to practice, as well as, like we were talking about Top Golf, a great place to come and just have a date night or a girls' night out or a night out with friends. We started with literally 5,000-6,000 square feet vacant real estate spaces around DC. We got short-term leases, and we would build them out to feel a little bit like a suite. And we did 3 subsequent pop-ups around Washington, DC, one in City Center, one in Mount Vernon Triangle, and the last in DuPont. We had to navigate COVID and being closed because of COVID. And it was actually during that time when golf was booming and we were shut down because of COVID that my team and I said, gosh, if we could just take these simulators outdoors, then we could boom with the rest of the golf industry. And for all my budding entrepreneurs out there, that is how great businesses start, right? It is someone coming up with an idea to solve a problem that more than one person is experiencing. We needed to get our simulators outside. And so we ideated on how do we create what is now the golf truck, which is a 40-foot long trailer that has 2 simulators built into either side. And we have a patent on it. It is a core part of our business to this day. It's not something that I dreamed up when I first started the company. But to your point, we were able to launch the golf truck at Broccoli City. We are now able to take golf to people that are not coming to the golf course, which is a core mission of ours at City Swing, to really make sure we're introducing golf to more people, particularly in underrepresented groups. And what I'm very proud of is we used the golf truck this summer with boys and girls clubs in the Washington, D.C. and Virginia area. And for the 8 consecutive weeks, we were able to take our golf truck and teach some kids at the Boys and Girls Club golf. It's to this, one of the most rewarding experiences that I've had to the opportunity to be a part of. So it's been
That's
really,
truly
really great.
amazing.
Yeah, it's
That's truly amazing.
But challenges, Desiree. There's a challenge every day. I don't want to mislead anybody that's thinking about getting into business, but particularly getting into business when you're in a male-dominated, white-dominated industry. Every day you face a challenge, and I think you can either focus on those challenges and be depressed, because if I focused on them every day, I would be depressed. Or you can just say, I know the challenges are out there, but I'm just plowing forward. I've got my vision, I've got my game plan, and I'm going to stay with my blinders on, keep my lens focus on where I want to go, and play my own game. That has really been the key, I think, to my success, is to say, I'm going to do it authentically, my way. I'm not going to worry about what else is going on out there. I'm not going to worry about the things that I can't control. And my dad has a saying, and I thank God for him and for this saying. He says, Tari, just stay on the treadmill, because if you just stay on the treadmill, that momentum is just going to keep you going. And I have really found that to be very, very true, and to help me overcome all of the challenges that I do face being a Black female entrepreneur in the golf industry. I don't know if any of that resonates with you, but talk to me about your challenges and successes, and just lay the groundwork with Road2Par and all that you're doing with the company.
Listen, I had to sit up for that one, right? I'm like, wait, that hit a core right there.
Yeah.
But to your point, COVID actually was a big piece for a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, a lot of workers. I mean, everyone. And it was one of those things where, because Road2Par, we're rooted in the mobility of it. I work a lot as a third party to country clubs, golf courses, golf providers, travel. It's one of those things where the creativity and kind of the passion are the fuel, right? Because some days you don't feel like it. I'll tell you, like, social media, oh my God, I probably have a to-do list of like a million things of like, okay, I'm going to post this, I'm going to post that. You want to keep up, you want to be relevant. And then there comes a point, and there's been a lot of articles about it, burnout, right? So golf is like the it thing right now, and everybody's jumping in. I probably get one phone call a week about, hey, I need help with a tournament. Mm-hmm. Or we want to do a golf trip, or, it's just all these things, which is great. But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you have to make sure that you're giving the best product. Mm-hmm. You have to make sure that you are being able to deliver. And so one of the things with the golf industry, it's about relationships. Mm-hmm. And, we talk about it all the time, actually. We are a minority in this industry. When you look at, there's been a big talk about PGA and the Live Tour and the DP World Tour. When you look at all these factors, a lot of times in the rooms, you don't see us, right? You don't see African-American women. You don't see African-American men. If you do, we are very small in numbers. And so I tell anyone, if you're interested in golf or in the golf business, learn the industry, right? You have to understand the relationship of how things work. And that's any business industry, right? It's very important to have the right relationships and do good business. You have to understand that in golf, there are traditions. I mean, look at the Masters, right? But in those traditions, so much are changing. There's a lot of history. I'll tell this one is, when I first started playing golf, I'll never forget, I was in South Carolina, and it was jarring to me to play at a place called Plantation. Mm-hmm. I will never forget that. So the challenges as African Americans in this industry, also not just being an entrepreneur, but as a golfer as well, there's so much history behind that. I think those are the parts that and understanding how to navigate it, you have to do what works for you. And as you mentioned before, it's not what someone else is doing, it's but where my passion and interest are. And so when people are looking to overcome challenges, I would say that's an internal factor, to dig deep inside to say, hey, what do I want to do? And then you'll start to figure out how that goes about it. For me, it was staying mobile and not working at a brick and mortar, if you will, but being able to kind of be around and work with people, such as working with yourself, right? Like, I mean, how great is that we've been able to do on some projects together, which are obviously looking forward to doing more because your space is amazing. Definitely you all have to check it out. But that, I think, is the most important part, and just building relationships with others and yourself within the industry.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what's coming up next? Give us a sneak preview on where you are taking Road2Par.
Oh, wow. Road2Par, I've been incredibly blessed, and I have to say it because I've been a podcast, I've got YouTube channel, road2par.com. If you all are ever looking to see kind of what's happening next, we have a full events calendar. But I am working on a special project, hopefully launching in 2023. And so we have a newsletter. If you go to our website, road2par.com, join our mailing list, see some great events, love to have people come out. We do a lot of trips as well, right? So this Road2Par isn't just one place, it's all over. So we look forward to having more people on Road2Par, whether that be newbies. If you're a new beginner, interested in learning, we have space for you. Or if you're an advanced player, don't come out and take all my money on the course, but, have a little bit of fun with it. Bring a friend.
Respect the queen. Respect the queen.
Hey, give me a stroke here and there, right? But, Road2Par is just, it's my love, it's my baby. And to be able to work with people like yourself, Tari, who are, you guys got to check out City Swing, the golf truck. Just giving back. And then, all the different panels and discussions. I just feel honored to be here with you now. But I know that City Swing has a lot coming up. Anything notable did you want to mention?
Yeah, I think first, let me start by saying City Swing, we have national and global aspirations. I am so proud to have started this business in Washington, D.C., and quite frankly feel there is no other place in the country where I could have started this business as a Black woman than Washington, D.C. So I am extremely grateful. But we want to be national and global. So we have 3 lines of the business. We have our golf studios, our current golf studios at 901 New York Avenue. This is where we have 2 private hitting bay suites. Think of them like your own private karaoke suite, where you can take a lesson and learn golf or hang out with your friends. At our golf studios, you also have we have got food, beverage, drinks, just come and have a good time. Then we have our golf truck, and then we have our foundation. In terms of what's coming next, we've got a City Swing location opening up in Reston Town Center. That will be our second one, and that'll be opening up in the spring of 2023. We are going to do a lot with our golf track. All these fabulous food and wine and jazz festivals at DC. I'm not from DC, and this is why y'all can never get rid of me. I am like here for life.
People come and get stuck. They come and get stuck.
I'm not leaving. And you are going to see the golf truck in a lot of unexpected places, particularly in the spring and the summer of 2023. Again, my goal is to make sure all of you out there that don't play feel like you have an invitation. You are welcome. You are wanted in this industry. Come get started and learn with us at City Swing, and we will help you advance to the course. And then you can participate in all of Desiree's great events and trips that she plans around the globe. So yeah, we are building, we are grinding, and we are proud to take DC with us everywhere we go.
Now, Tara, you hit something that I want to go back to real quick. What makes DC a great city for golfers? Now, I'm a native Washingtonian, so I can go on and on and on, but I love the fact that you're not from here, but you really feel like DC is a great place, which of course we know is. But for you, how is it a great city for golf?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer this a couple ways. As a golfer, particularly, I mean, I'm a good golfer. I'm not a great golfer, right? But as a golfer that's constantly looking to improve her game, um, the municipal golf courses in DC are truly at the top of municipal golf courses around the country. East Potomac, Croc Creek, and my personal favorite, Langston, with the history of Langston. I mean, it is the history at Langston, the ability to play East Potomac and see the Washington Monument. They are very, very special courses. They are affordable courses. They are good places to go and take your first lesson and to practice. And so right there, you've got the introductory courses, the accessible courses, but then, you get to some of the most beautiful courses, I think, in the entire country, some of our private courses around the Washington, D.C. and DMV area. There's a lot of golf here. There's a lot of diverse golf here.
And I'll add, and it's something that we could have started with, but I figured why not save the best for last? Because another great factor to being on this with you, Tari, is that we are both members of the Wake Robin Golf Club, which is the oldest Black women's golf club in America. Yes, indeed. We just celebrated our 85th anniversary. The other club is the Royals, which was the men's club. We are the reason behind Langston Golf Course even being created. Yeah. We implore anybody to check out Google Wake Robin Golf Club, like Wake Robin the flower. But it's an amazing thing to walk what I feel like is sacred ground, if you will, right? To know the story that that golf course was once a landfill, and here we are playing, teaching, the next generation, giving back through scholarship. And so it's an honor to not only be able to talk business with you, but also be in one of the most prestigious, oldest Black women's golf club in America, which is our Wake Robins.
I'm so glad you said that. It is one of the things that I'm the most proud of right now in my entire life, is to be a part of the organization and the history and the legacy. So I couldn't agree with that more. So what a way to end, Desiree. You know how to
Well, listen, I think that is a perfect note. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. But with that, we want to thank Mayor Muriel Bowser for the opportunity to participate in this 202 Creates Masterclass discussion. I'm Desiree Walker. Be sure to check out myself and Tari Cash on Entertain DC's YouTube channel. Share and tell your friends. And when you're ready to hit the course, stop by City Swing. I'm sure I'm going to be there often. Tari's definitely going to be around. Let's get you all on the golf course and get started on your road to par. Look forward to talking.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.